Good morning. Happy Saturday. This is what it is, y'all. Let's go. I know I shut this statement yesterday on Facebook. I want to give my elaboration on it so you can understand where I'm coming from, my perspective on it all. We'll see who jumps on. We'll give you a little bit of time. If not, of course, I'll invite some people to the party. I haven't did any audio lives this week. And strategizing, schools getting ready to start, different opportunities to train and teach, getting prepared for those things, and taking a break from Divorce to Pass. We have 2 weeks left. Good morning, Lorenzo. We have 2 weeks left of Divorce to Pass summer session. We already have things put in place, not everything, but I would say 80%, 85%. I'm hearing out. All right. Big thanks. Thank you, big bro. Let me turn my volume down so as people are getting no comment, it won't keep beeping. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. I'm pretty sure because I can still see my volume going, which is good. But like I said before, hey, Kim, like I said before, the next session, the fall session of Divorce to Pass is up and going. Thank you, sir. We got the updates to the website, update to the Eventbrite, and what else? Updates to cars. So I'll be out in the community this weekend. Get to the Job Corps. Get to the Job Corps reunion out in Riverdale. And then I'm going to try to get to the 815 Unity Movement. They have something going on in Joliet at Noah Park tomorrow. Shout out to them. Shoot out in support. I'm going to try to be out there just supporting and chopping it up with people, giving them some information and stuff. Because I know sometimes when we get on Facebook, some of us know me, some of us know each other, but when you get into an opportunity to talk with somebody face to face, you can really see the authenticity in what they speak, and you can learn more about them as well. So be looking out for that. So every site that I have underneath this post is more information for you or your family to pass along to single moms, parents, households that believe and know that their young people need additional training, because we need academics. That's a given, but we also need to understand who we are so we can make the right decisions. Because my pastor has been drilling us by saying, in a good way, that if you don't know who you are, you won't know how to live. So a person can have all the intellect, all the education, all the college degrees, but if that person does not understand who they are, they will make decisions from that place. All right, tight ready real quick. Tight ready. This is an open dialogue conversation. I'm not saying that I'm going to be done with this in one setting, because it can be an emotionally charged topic. I can see emotionally charged topics if I throw a question out there or a scenario and people respond to it. But our kids should be near and dear to our hearts, because we were all young adolescents at one point in time, so we can feel the ups and downs of life and growing in our different environments and society. So we should be able to connect with those young people. But we gotta really take accountability and invest in our kids, because it's important. Because this is a generational thing. They're going to be the future leaders. So we need to make sure that they are trained in the correct fashion. So let's go into this. You are not done raising your child when he or she turns 18. This was a topic that I had been sitting on for a while, and I had a conversation with one of my younger brothers, and he shared with me that when he turned 18, that his dad said that he was done. And not in the aspect of, I'm done, you've been wretched, your behavior has been chaotic. He said to him that he was done. meaning that he felt that he was equipped to go into the world, which he wasn't. And I can tell by different things that transpire in his lifestyle. But this is important. So this is a topic that I can relate to. It's very near to dear to my heart. And also having kids, nieces and nephews, and students, former students and students that I have now that still remain in contact with me. So this is a urgent topic. All right. So this is specifically for parents, grandparents, and immediate families, uncles and aunties, in addition to school teachers, counselors, and other professionals who work with you. This is specifically who those people this live is for. So if you fall into one of those categories, it's for you. If you know somebody that fall into one of those categories, it's for them too. So take the information, the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding that you gather from our conversation, not only from myself, but from those who are chiming in, and share it with somebody. Make it applicable in your life and share it. Our outcome is going to be to gain a better understanding as to why not to the why not to. Prematurely discard our kids before they think, before they are mature. Because sometimes we'll prematurely discard our kids because they think they grown. You understand what I'm saying? They think they grown in their mind. And it's a systematic thing. It is what it is, y'all. People think they grown. Number one, a person doesn't have to tell you they grown in order for you to see it. It's reflective in their decisions. All right. Being an adult and being mature is reflective in our decisions. So my first statement is that age is not a sign of maturity. Action is. Age is not a sign of maturity. Action is. I know as well as you know, we have, as a society, people that's connected to us, they 37, 38, 40, 50, still making immature decisions. True or false? All right. I'm going to tell you why. I know that to be true because I still make immature decisions in my life, but it's not a pattern of behavior, because I try my best to address pattern of behaviors in my life. So age is not a sign of maturity. Action is. So many times when people grow in age and not in maturity, that is arrested development. Arrested development is a spirit or mentality that hinders us from growing into adulthood. It's usually connected to a traumatic experience. Arrested development is a mentality or spirit that can hinder us from growing into adulthood. It's usually connected to a traumatic experience. Example, the one goal that I have yet to achieve is to become married. Why, Mr. Case, have you not achieved that goal? Because my relationship with the woman that I trusted the most was dysfunctional and abusive. I'm not saying that it was all in totality like that, but there were key moments, milestones that transpired in my life that left me in a state of arrested development. But when people focus on my performance academically, they overlook my lack of development internally as a person. So then when I transitioned into relationships, it always came up because it was a pattern of behavior that was a derivative of my perception connected to my experience. A derivative is nothing but something produced from a thought or experience. So my behavior was a derivative of my perception of an experience. And when I got into relationships, it always came to the surface. You have awesome people in your life, young ladies, and for some reason, you just can't get close to them. You just can't allow them too close. So thugs, I'm not saying that you're a thug on this broadcast, but people that portray themselves as thugs are hard or have a main chick. I hate to use the word chick because I don't use it, but main chick, side chick. Why do you have all these women? All right, you got to ask yourself these questions, because there's no way possible that you are having all these women and you're not hurting on the inside. Trust me. All right. All thugs, all people that promote thug life, whether through verbiage or through action, are hurting on the inside. This is why they got to continue to promote self, because they think it's all about them. And number one is because of a lack of identity. And number two is because of a lack of love. Guarantee they have been hurt by a woman somewhere in their childhood or adolescenthood. Guarantee it. And it's an unresolved issue. Any feedback? Shout out to everybody. I want to shout everybody out right now, because this is important. So what am I saying? I'm saying that age is not a sign of maturity. Action is. And many of our actions are arrested development because we were hurt in the past. That's why the program is divorce the past to advance into the future. Not divorce the past to add onto your future. All right. When you advance internally. When you add externally. Houses, cribs, cars, clothes, shoes, necklaces, things like that. Things that are material. All right. Moving forward. Somebody type forward real quick so I can know that you're still listening. When you turn 18, I'm done. Does that sound familiar to you? You know, when you turn 18, you got to get up out of here. It's either 18 or 21. Sometimes it's 18, sometimes it's 21. But does this sound familiar? I know it sounds familiar to me. I've heard it. I didn't hear it in my household. I heard 21, but I've heard it in other households. Like as soon as these kids turn 18, they got to go. But my statement is that just because I'm done doesn't mean that it's finished. All right. Just because I'm done as a parent, as a big brother, as a mentor, as a teacher, just because I'm done does not mean that it's finished. And I'm going to tell you why. But for those that are listening, if you have not listened to the How to Get Your Child Motivated audio live, I'll ask you to go back and check that out, because I did it a couple weeks ago and it has 17 actions that we can take to help our child's or children's growth and development. So it was good. It was a key for me. It helped me out because it helped me as a teacher make sure that I keep in the forefront my students' development, my young ones' development, my nieces and nephews and kids that I come into contact with. And so my question to us is this, because usually when people turn 18, they think that they're grown. All right, true or false? All right, true. If you're not participating, if you're not typing true or false, then in your mind, you either saying true or false. But usually from my experience, when a person turns 18, they consider themselves as grown. Why is that prevalent? So I did some research, jumped online, looked at some things, and what I found from an article by Jennifer Lay, her last name is spelled L-A-I. It was entitled Old Enough to Smoke, Old Enough to Vote. And I took one of the stanzas from her article, and it reads as this: Congress lowered the nationwide voting age to 18 as a response to unrest and passionate debate about the Vietnam War. Many felt that those who were old enough to be drafted into the armed forces should also be able to vote. So people did, check it out. When a bill is passed, legislation, new law, immediately people assert their belief system to that law. So if the age of 18 was raised up to vote, immediately people in their mind, their perception is, if I'm old enough to vote, I'm old enough to do this, I'm grown, which is totally false. Let me not even use grown. I'm mature. Totally false. 18 years on the planet is 10 plus 8. You haven't been there that long. You may be missing some vital experiences in your life. So I want you to relate that to society. Anytime society introduces a bill, a law, and it complements what I want to do, I'll accept that as the truth. And it's not, because we already understand that just because a person is 18 does not mean that they are mature. That's their opinion from their own life perceptions, which could be void of important and integral development periods as a person, as a human being. I want somebody to type the brain real quick. All right. I'm gonna get some scientific on you a little bit and give you this insight. This is going to help you. I'm going to talk about the ages 18 and 25 and then give you some little tidbits, and then we'll wrap it up. Let me invite some people on. I need for y'all to participate. All right. Man, I ain't going to hold you long. Trust me. I got stuff to do just like you. Invite some of my people, some of my soldiers. All right. And if you got any feedback, feel free to type anything. Invite some of my soldiers on here. Invite some of my soldiers. All right, that's cool. Let me see. Yeah, that's good. We got enough of the soldiers invited on here. So let's go into the brain. The brain. I've been aware of this because I've been trained on it a billion, trillion numbers of times. The brain. And this is from Understanding the Teen Brain from the University of Rochester Medical Center. The brain. Thinking about a person that's 18 or younger. Let's say ages 13 to 18, since it's the age that I really focus on. The rational part of a teen's brain isn't fully developed and won't be until age 25 or so. Check it out. Listen to this. The rational part of a teen's brain isn't fully developed and won't be until the age of 25 or so. In fact, recent research has found that adults and teens' brains work differently. Adults think with their prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational part. This is the part of the brain that responds to situations with good judgment and awareness of long-term consequences. Pause. Many of our kids live in the short term. Many of our kids live in the moment. Some of us as adults live in the short term and in the moment. If a person continuously prioritizes their wants over their needs, that's a sign of immaturity. They live in the moment. Their brain may have developed, but the thinking capacity connected to that is lacking. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. Moving forward, teens process information with the amygdala. The amygdala is the emotional center of the brain. All right, and even in what I'm reading, it says this is the emotional part. So you think like this, teens, if their brain is not developed or so by 25, where are they thinking from? They're thinking from the emotional part of the brain. So there's lack of ration in that. All right. In my situation with my younger brother, kids on top of kids. All right. And I'm being transparent, but it's okay. But I got to bring the real truth to you so you can know that I'm just not speaking from theory. So when you get into a situation and you're getting your desires met and your wants, then that's a sign of immaturity, especially with young kids, 13 to 18 and probably beyond. If I'm thinking from my amygdala, then that's where I'm making my decisions from. All right, so this is key. The 5 senses. You got sight, you got hearing, taste, smell. All make up an experience, but it is the interpretation of the experience that allows our perception to develop normally or abnormally. So as a parent, I am not done raising my child when she or he turns 18, number one, because their brain don't fully develop until 25 or so. You got it? Number two, just because they think they grown because they can vote does not mean that they're grown or mature, because they're still making decisions from the emotional part of the brain. I believe that theory can be shattered by the Spirit of God if we position ourselves to help our kids interpret situations. So when an experience takes place, it consists of the sight of it all, the hearing, the taste, the smell, and the touch. But the interpretation of the experience determines if my child is going to develop normally or abnormally. Hence, I'm either equipping them or not in order to become a mature adult. I do believe that young people can become mature adults by 18, but I believe it's up to the parents, the teachers, and the people they come into contact with, whether they in contact with some type of youth program, basketball coaches. This is all the part of the child's development process, because the development process is connected to not only the scientific piece of the brain development, but also the interpretation of the experiences. Because if you have a wrong interpretation of an experience, then your interpretation is going to transform into a perception, and your perception is going to transform into an action or a behavior. I want you to understand this. All right. So perception, this is my key statement that I've been meditating on for the past 2 weeks. Perception is a derivative of our interpretation of an experience. All right. Perception, how I see the world around me, how I see myself, is a byproduct of my interpretation of an experience. So as parents, coaches, pastors, teachers, uncles, aunties, we have to have the right interpretation of the experience in order to pass it on or impart it into our babies. Check it out. My interpretation of a situation has to be saturated in truth, not my opinion. Because I put out a statement on Facebook a week or so ago, and my statement was that it does not matter who's right or wrong when the truth is involved. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Right or wrong is connected to my opinion. My opinion can lead me into darkness, but the truth will always allow me to move into the light. All right, so I'm not living my life on my opinion or what I think. I'm living my life off truth. Truth is where? Quiz. Truth is where? In the Word of God. Check it out. I'm going to give you this and then we're going to be done. I want you to think about this. Think about, because we just finished VBS at our church. And one thing that I learned through it as a teacher was to make sure, for me as a teacher, to give young people the truth. I can allow them to have an opinions, but the truth supersedes opinions all day long. Hence, we use the word finesse in class. And their definition of finesse has been urbanized. Urbanized means that you take a word and you make it fit what's popular in society. What's popular is not always the truth. Many times what's popular is based on the person's opinion and what they want and the desires of their heart. Void the Spirit of God, right? So you take a word and you urbanize it to fit you. That means that I can redefine anything to fit what I want, and that can lead me into that's compromise. It can lead me into darkness. It can lead me into getting hurt. It can lead a child into getting death. It can lead into a child being homeless. It can lead into a lot of tumultuous situations because I'm living my life from my opinion. It's based on what I feel, but it's also based upon my perception of past experiences and interpretation that I got from people that also lived on their opinion. All right. So I want you to I want us to really absorb that. All right. We can't take words and urbanize them and make those words be true, because when you take a word and urbanize it, you take it away from its original meaning. You look at the etymology of the word, it doesn't mean that. But in society, our youth use a lot of urban slang, and what one word means to them differently, it means differently to us. But that is a whole nother level, because that means that I can go into any situation and I can look at that situation how I want it to. I can look at a situation and make it fit me and not fit the situation. All right. So if I take a situation and make it fit me, it's connected to my opinion. So it's going to go how I want it to go. And that's very, very dangerous. So I'm admonishing teachers, pastors, moms, dads, uncles, coaches, teachers, aunties, uncles. Give your kids truth, because when you give them truth, that enables them the ability to develop a normal perception. Anything that's outside of the truth, outside of the word of God, is an opinion. So I take that opinion, right? And then I make it a part of my life, and it's false. That doesn't allow me to develop normally in my perception. So I can be 25 and my brain can be fully developed as far as the growth, but I'm still void of experiences that allow me to become a mature adult and make mature decisions. I'm hoping this helping us. So I wanted to cite Latoya Howard in response to my statement, when is your baby ready to leave the nest? And her response was that I don't think it should be based on age. Just my opinion, though. I think it's more of a mindset, and every individual person matures differently. I think as a people, we are so focused on putting our kids out when they turn 18 that we don't realize we may be setting them up for failure. You are not done raising your child when she or he turns 18, even if they are vast in their development, even if they are vastly advanced in their maturity. Maturity is based upon specific situations and experiences. I haven't encountered every experience, so in some areas I may be immature. So I want you to think about this, that the raising of our children does not stop at 18. They should always come to us. I should always be able to come to my mom, my dad, my mentors for advice, because there are experiences that I haven't went through. An experience that I haven't went through, I cannot be subject to my own interpretation of that experience, because I can easily make it fit what I want. And it may not be that. It may be something totally different. So as I finish this out, make sure you look at all the links. If you need more information about the Divorce the Past program, please feel free to go to the websites. If you want to become a sponsor for our fall session, you can also go to the website. Or if you got a child ages 13 to 18 who you want to see advance in all areas of life, whether it be personally, professionally, athletically, in all areas, make sure that you go to the Eventbrite and check out the site. If you need some more information, you got some questions for me, feel free to email me at divorcethepast@gmail.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook as well. All right, thank you all for sharing. Shout out to everybody that decided to jump on. I appreciate your time. I also appreciate your listening ear. You got any feedback, feel free to insert your feedback underneath this post. Happy Saturday. Be safe, and as always, be great at who you are.